Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we will make the easiest and most delicious gluten-free chocolate cake, warranty no fail, that I do for the kids for snack or that I use as a base in my layered cakes to make those birthday fondant cakes that I've been sharing here. The recipe is extremely simple and takes 5 minutes to prepare before baking and calls for ingredients that we probably all have in our kitchen, especially since the flour that you will want to use is the flour you have. When I first started making this cake, we were not a gluten-free family yet, so it actually also works with plain regular wheat flour that most people use, as long as the proportion of the ingredients is respected. So first you want to set your oven at 350 Fahrenheit. Remember, this recipe will be ready to be baked in 5 minutes. You want your oven at the right temperature. I usually start by melting the butter and the chocolate together. Both need to be 200 grams. You can use the microwave or do bain-marie. 1 minute plus 30 seconds in my microwave usually does the job. Meanwhile, these two ingredients are melting. You can crack 4 eggs. You can use a bowl and a wrist, or here I'm using my KitchenAid to go faster because I believe I was making 12 chocolate cakes that day. Ideally, you'd like your eggs to be at room temperature, but I never think of taking mine out of the fridge on time. So I cannot tell you that I believe it's absolutely compulsory because it doesn't change anything in this specific recipe at least. The order in which you'll put the ingredients going forward doesn't really matter, but you want to stir your eggs together before adding the sugar here. By now, your butter and chocolate should be melted in your microwave or au bain-marie, and you will add this mixture to your bowl. Add a pinch of salt and then the flour. So here I'm using 6 tablespoons of almond flour that could easily be replaced by 6 tablespoons of quinoa or spelt flour or wheat flour for the non-gluten-free people watching. And because I use a gluten-free flour, I need to add a starch. And I'm adding 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch. Could easily be replaced with potato starch, arrowroot starch. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the proportion of the ingredients. You give it a stir, and then we'll have to scrub the edges of your bowl if you did it in the KitchenAid like I did. And of course, the 2 teaspoons of baking powder if you want your cake to rise. For some reasons, I always forget the baking powder, and when I give it a stir at the end and the batter is already ready, it's always splashing all over the place, all over my bowl. But that's okay. Just use a spatula and give it another stir, and it's going to be perfect just like that. The batter is now ready with 4 eggs, 200 grams of butter, 200 grams of chocolate, a pinch of salt, 6 tablespoons of almond flour, 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We give it another stir, and we can prepare our cake pan. I use baking paper to put at the bottom of my pan because my pan is an openable one. But otherwise, you just spread butter on your pan all over, and then a little bit of the flour of your choice. That's usually a plain one that has no specific taste, like tapioca starch or spelt, or for the non-gluten-free watchers, wheat flour. And you have your pan that's ready to pour the batter into. At this point of the making, I usually have 2 kids in the kitchen waiting to get the whatever scrap of the batter is going to be left over after I pour my batter in my cake pan. It's been approximately 4 minutes and 30 seconds that you started making this cake, and your oven should be at 350 Fahrenheit or 180 Celsius, ready to welcome the cake to bake. Your batter should look quite smooth. It's okay if it has some bubbles, or I've seen with time that it's not changing much. Place your cake in the middle rack of your oven that's already at 350 Fahrenheit. And here's the trick. You will close the oven door and you will raise the temperature at 392, which is like 200 Celsius. And you will leave it like this for 12 minutes. In 12 minutes from now, you will change the temperature again to 350 and it will bake for another 12 to 14 minutes before being ready. With time and experience, you'll know when the cake is baked, but the best advice I can give is to put the point of a knife into it, and if it comes out dry, the cake is ready. Keep it in its pan, cooling on the stove for a few minutes. A half hour is the best. And then it's ready for your kids and grown-ups to enjoy with ice cream or just as is. And you literally made a chocolate cake that's super easy with very simple ingredients in less than 30 minutes total, baking included, for everybody to enjoy it in your house. Thank you for watching.